What's going on, everyone? Back with another episode of Stuff and Things. Today we're going to be talking about belts, specifically belts designed for EDC. You guys know that I like to test out a bunch of different gear as some new stuff comes out, and I was wearing this belt in my last EDC update video, and all of the comments were exploding with people that were really excited that I was testing out a new belt. I did do a video on an older version of this belt in the past, but today we're going to be taking a look at a new one coming from Core Essentials. This is their new X5 buckle on their new nylon tactical gun belt. And this thing is crazy stiff. Now I took this thing off real quick so we could keep the crotch shots in this video to a minimum. I'm not sure how I feel about putting all that stuff on YouTube. Might get demonetized. But on a serious note, these Core belts have like a cult following. Anytime that I show one of these in a video, people seem to love it. So I'm gonna give you some more information on what these belts are if you've never seen them before, and then also go over some of the pros and cons which would make this good or possibly bad for concealed carry. Now, as you can see, these Core tactical belts are constructed to be extremely stiff and durable. These are actually 2 times as stiff as the leather gun belts, which you may have seen me review in the past. They're designed to give you the best fit possible, also while remaining durable, and it should give you a fast, consistent draw every time. Part of that great fit is thanks to there being no belt holes at all. So how does this thing even work in the first place? The magic really lies in their belt buckle system, as well as the track that is sort of hidden on the inside of the belt. Instead of like 5 or 6 different points of adjustment that you would find on a typical belt with holes in it, this Core tactical belt will give you over 40 different sizing points, and you can adjust it 1/4 of an inch at a time. That means when you put this belt on, you simply click it together, similar to a zip tie, and then it's gonna go to the perfect, comfortable fit every single time. This particular version is made out of a nylon webbing on the outer layer, and then on the inside it has their proprietary reinforced power core center, as they call it. And as you can see here, I can hold this thing up and it just remains super rigid, even if I have some things on the belt while it's not even on my waist. There is also a belt keeper, which is definitely a nice touch. I think that was actually one of my complaints about the original version that I had. Since the belt is so stiff, that thing sort of tends to like fly out there in the wind, so it's nice to be able to keep that thing up against your waist. And they also come with a 1-year warranty, and I've actually gifted one of these to a friend in the past, and he has worn it a lot for probably like over 1.5 years now, and it's still looking really good, almost as it did when it came out of the box. So if I had to guess, I would say that this thing is going to last just as long, if not longer, than the previous older version. Now, how does this thing work? I already have this one specifically sized to myself, and I have it all set up. But I have a new one right here in the bag as it comes to you, and I'll show you how to set it up using this one. So in the bag, you get the coiled up belt itself here. As you can see, it is super rigid. And then you have the belt keeper, the actual belt buckle itself, and a little tool here to set it all up. So this is the gray nylon version, just like the one that I've been showing you in the beginning, and on the reverse side of it, you will see that this is actually marked for specific pant sizes. This is gonna be good for the big dudes out there with a 54-inch waistline, all the way down to someone with a 24-inch waistline. So you got skinny dudes and big dudes all around. This thing should have you covered. Now the way this works is you simply cut it to size. So say you are someone with a 54-inch waistline, you don't have to do any cutting on this at all. Then you simply take this belt buckle here, this is the back side of it. You can see 2 little set screws here, and then this little hinge with some teeth on it. This little lever is how you actually take the belt off, so you want this thing to be on the bottom. So this is the way it's going to be oriented. You simply take that belt buckle with the flap open, you stick the cut end of the belt all the way in. Let me flip this over so you can see. You're going to press this closed so that those teeth dig into the belt, just like that. Now if that isn't secure enough, what you can do is take this little tool here, tighten down these set screws, making it extra rigid. And once those are in, there's absolutely no way that this belt buckle is coming off of this belt. So these belts are retailing for about 60 bucks, and it seems like anytime I post about them, people seem to love them. They're like, dude, I've had a Core belt for like 4 years now and it's still holding up. I have what I'm going to call gear ADD, and I'm just like constantly switching things out and testing new things. So I did wear this for a while after my last EDC update, and I definitely understand why people are a big fan of belts like this. Let me throw this thing on while we talk about some of the pros. The first one would probably be that this thing is just really good quality. You can tell right when you pull it out of its bag that this thing is nice and rigid, it's made out of good materials, and it fits through standard belt loops just like on these blue jeans right here. It is extremely easy to put on. Like I mentioned, you just kind of cinch it up. And then they do have that included belt keeper here. That way that thing is not just kind of floating out and around there. It stays nice and secure up against my waistline. And as an example, here I have a very heavy gun, full size 1911. Now putting a holster on the belt is just as easy. This is a QVO universal holster for 1911s. I'll simply slip the belt through. I'll pull it all the way over that track line material. I'll snug it up into position on my right side here. Belt back through the belt keeper, and there you have it. Gun goes in the holster, and that thing is not going anywhere. Even with a really heavy all metal gun like this thing is super rigid. I could legit do jumping jacks right now. I could absolutely see myself running with this if I ever needed to, and it is not going anywhere. See, this is where the video gets a little weird. Now a setup like this is definitely going to be great for the upcoming months. It's about winter time, and this is where a lot of people switch from carrying their typical inside the waistband holster and switch to an outside the waistband holster, just like this. It's probably getting cold where you live, so you throw on a hoodie which can conceal something like this, or a jacket. If you do carry a big heavy gun like this, chances are you're carrying outside the waistband anyway. This is much more comfortable than carrying appendix in waistband because this is a large gun, but I know there are people who carry guns that are smaller and lighter, like myself, and those people tend to switch to outside the waistband as well. I unfortunately am not one of those people. I carry appendix inside the waistband all the time. This is how I like to train. This is the exact setup that I use right here, QVO inside the waistband appendix holster. So carrying on the outside with a big heavy gun like this works great. This is like an extreme scenario. But can you carry inside the waistband with something like this? I'm gonna put the belt back on, but leave a little bit of room there for the gun. Now you'll notice I like to push the belt buckle a little bit off to the side here because I run this clip almost as close to 12 o'clock as possible. So this will go in, clip goes over the belt, and one thing that is awesome about this is that the belt is super rigid. It's putting a positive pressure on this wing right here. That is of course the holster design. So then the rigidness of the belt and the design of the holster keep the butt of this gun pressed into my abdomen, and when you throw your shirt on the outside of this, it does not print at all. Now on the other side of things, a con for this belt would be the way that you actually carry. Could I get used to appendix carry like this with this belt? Sure, I could probably get used to something like this for a while. However, one thing that I wish was a little bit different is the belt buckle design. I think I talked about this in the past, and I've definitely brought it up in some EDC updates, but this belt buckle is a little bit slimmer than it was in the past. However, it's not as slim as I would like it to be. Because I appendix carry and I like having my firearm as close to center line as possible, when the belt buckle is as wide as this, the back metal piece starts right here and then the front stops right here. I need to take that entire thing and move it off to the side, so now I have this big chunk of metal sort of sitting like right here in line with my hip bone. Now sure, you could get used to that over time, however, I just prefer something with a little bit slimmer of a buckle. If I ever did decide to take this thing out and run it on the outside of my waistband during the winter months, then yeah, for sure, this belt would definitely be great for that. However, when I am appendix carrying, it does get a little bit cumbersome when I have my gun here and then a big metal buckle right next to it. So those are some of my thoughts on the Core Essentials EDC tactical belt. This is definitely going to be good for a select group of people, those who definitely prefer outside the waistband carry. This is great for that. Maybe you work in a professional environment. They have a lot of different belt buckles to pick from. The previous leather core belts that I look at had some really nice fancy buckles on them, and I actually wore them to work when I was working in a corporate environment. So if you have one of these belts, let me know what you guys think about it in the comments down below. If you have any questions, let me know as well. I will leave a link to where you can find these in the description down below. So if you're new to the channel, consider clicking subscribe. I make new videos every week. That's gonna be all for today. So as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next one.